Want, I can go ahead and give you the. Uh, I don't know if you really want the channel link to my Twitch. There's like no point, I suppose, unless you
No,
wanted
I'll
to
pull
like.
it up.
Oh, actually, yeah, you could watch the chat, I suppose. Do you
Yeah.
need me to give you the link?
No, I followed you, so
Oh, okay.
as soon as Twitch updates, I'll be able to get in
All right.
there.
Cool.
No, I followed you, so as
Oh,
soon
okay.
as
Well, we sound pretty good on stream, I suppose. Um, Something that I do. I said do.
do do.
I didn't even mean to say that. Something that I do whenever I start a stream is that I like to start with a song that sort of, helps get the. It does two things. Usually that sort of helps me check the sound and whatnot.
Hmm.
But I just check. We're fine. The other thing that I do is it gives people time to join. It's also
Oh,
just
okay.
sort of tradition. So, uh,
No, yeah, I love it. I love music, so
all right, cool.
do it.
Um, I do have a song picked out, and hopefully you'll like it. But
Hear it.
here, here we go. I woke up on a wave that crashes. When will the tide return? And if you leave with only ashes and can rebuild what has been burned, and down the road with all the seeds grown and benefit of you, we throw away the things we want most depending on our mood. I don't know where you are, I don't know where I'm going, but I can't be that far from where your heart is flowing. Oh, 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 oh. Just like fireflies, briefly held, meant to be let go. Somewhere in the night, the words you spoke will always light and echo in my mind. A last goodbye, one breath within our ever-shifting lives. Spare your cries, there will be no reply. I can't know where to start if you don't let down your guard. A distance much too far. 'Cause we are just like fireflies, a mirror to the stars that drift out somewhere in the night. The words you spoke will always light and echo in my mind. A last goodbye, one breath within our ever-shifting lives. The vast divided skies were meant to fly. Among the vast divided skies were meant to fly. The vast divided skies were meant to fly. And that song is called Firefly by Skyhill.
Wow, that I didn't think you were gonna sing it. That
Oh,
was amazing.
that's what I said. I said I was gonna
Oh,
start with a song.
I thought you meant like play a song.
Oh no, I'm not that tech savvy. Heck no, I don't know how to play stuff on stream. All I've got is
Oh,
my freaking microphone here, plugged into OBS, and I click the stream button. That's about
oh my gosh.
it.
Okay, well, I can help you with that anytime you need
Yeah,
help
you should
if you
show me the
want.
ropes, Miss
Yeah,
Famous Streamer.
I'm not a famous streamer. I'm just a girl who plays video games.
Yeah, you're pretty good though. Also, hello, the Virgo
The
star,
Virgo stuff.
the Virgo star in the chat with the woot woot woot. I like that.
Yeah.
The oh, you're dabbing and then you're doing the woot woot.
I'm yeah, so the dab is kind of like my I'm always dancing, so that's why I did that emote. And I always
Oh,
say woot woot. So
oh, you like to dance?
I love to dance.
I love to dance too. I'm not very
Yeah.
good, but that's the whole point,
Yeah.
you know.
It's just about rhythm.
Well, here's my 2 cents on that. You know, there's I guess there's ways to do it properly. There are like dances that you can learn. You know, there are songs that you can learn. There is like music theory or whatever. But in my opinion, everybody can sing, everybody can dance. All it takes is making a joyful noise or moving to the rhythm, letting yourself be taken over by the music and just sort of letting go and having fun. That's what it's really all about, you know?
Exactly. I choreograph dances. You can think about
Oh.
dancing, you can plan dancing, but the best dancing is when you're not thinking about it. You're just feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
feeling the music and doing whatever, whatever happens, happens. That's
Yeah.
what I do 99% of the time. Just move.
I have like a fun little story to that. Sort of like how I learned how to dance. But real quick, I'm like looking up a quote from Michael Jackson's "Slave to the Rhythm," and I can't find it. Do you know that song?
I can't think of it right now. I mean, I'm sure if I heard it, I'd know it, but
She dances at the crack of dawn and quickly cooks his food. She can't be late, can't take too long. The kids must get to school. She's a slave to the rhythm. You know that song?
yes,
She's a
yes,
slave
slave to
to the
the
rhythm of love, love, love. Yeah. I cannot
rhythm.
sing that. That's my first time trying to sing, and I'm like, no. Um, but it's interesting because I actually kind of learned how to sing by trying to sing Michael Jackson. Because what I learned is that, you know, I'm very terrible at music theory. Like, I can't, uh, you know, I can't read music. I don't understand how, like, the math in music works. Like, I tried to take several years of piano just to learn, but I can't. But I know rhythms, you know, cadence.
Mhm.
Um,
Right.
so that Shimon, yeah, I can do like all that stuff, and that's sort of like how I learned, you know, because I learned that you don't have to like hit the right notes. You know, you can sing it at a lower register, like in your own thing or whatever, and like trying to transpose that, or I guess translate it to whatever is your range or whatever. I'm bad at that, but what I can do is sort of listen to something, play it back, and like copy it.
Hmm.
So even if it's in like another language, I can still sing it, even though I don't know the words and whatnot. And I actually started learning a little bit of Spanish because I could, um, like trying to learn. Sorry, one of the things you're gonna realize is that I get off on tangents way too much, but I promise this will be very quick. Uh, the way that I tried to learn Spanish in school is that they teach you like this word means this or whatever. But Spanish doesn't really work like that. You don't use like individual words. It's almost like the whole sentence is said at once, and that's just sort of how it is. You know, you can't like
The structure, yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
different.
you can't
Hmm.
interchange things. Like you in English you can start to say going one day down to the house, he went and then did a different thing. You can like change it right in the middle, because there's verb tenses, pretenses, and the whole sentence structure is completely different, where in Spanish, where it translates the same, but you almost have to say it all at once in a fluent
Hmm.
sentence. um
Exactly.
but yeah, I've learned a couple songs. Enrique Iglesias.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
uh I learned. I really wanted to learn Dimelo, but I just can't sing that one. But I did learn. Um, you can run, you can hide, but you can't escape my love. Escape or escapar. Um, si decides dejarme, no te habrá dejar. Ni de tus bostade, rompen con las esconas, no te debes escapar. Which totally is not the words, but like it's so much fun to say. I'm
Yeah.
I'm almost positive that those aren't the words, but as I'm like doing it in my mind and translating it and learning it, I am learning words like escape, which is, when you look at it, is escapare. Like you like
Right.
trying to be American and saying that
Right.
doesn't. I cannot roll my R's or my L's or anything, but when I copy something like that song, I can do it. I don't know why or how, but I can't like do it on command. um
Yeah.
so that's
I
just
think
kind
I
of a
just
fun
say
little
D
thing.
instead, like propio, like, but yeah.
um
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I went way off topic. I forget what we were even talking about. I haven't even introduced you yet. We haven't like started like, I feel like we haven't even got it started. We've already started getting into just like talking and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I do want this to be discussion. I have had 2 podcasts now where it's been just me and I've been just talking. And there's nothing really wrong with that, but I want people on this podcast. So I'd love
Yeah.
to, chat with you and not just be the voice, or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. Yeah. I'm
so
down.
do you want to introduce yourself? Sorry, I should shut up and just let you talk.
I mean, no, this is your podcast. I'm gonna follow your lead, but I'm Virgo. I'm a streamer on Twitch. I mainly play PUBG, although I also play a couple other games. Um, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about. It's weird when people are like, "Tell me about yourself," It's the weirdest question. I don't know why.
Yeah, like how
Even
do
in
you
interviews, you're like,
describe
"What do I
yourself?
say?"
Yeah.
Yeah, professionally, personally, what do you want
If
to
you
know?
could describe yourself in one word, what's your biggest weakness, biggest strength? Like all that
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
What you want to
Exactly.
say
It's
is,
like,
oh, my biggest weakness is that I'm a perfectionist. Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
work too hard.
yeah, exactly. I'm just too perfect, and it gets me in trouble sometimes because then I get frustrated. But don't worry, I'll get the job done. Yeah.
um, oh my goodness, there's so many tangents I want to go off of, but I do want to go over sort of, maybe we could go into the story of like how we met, like all that stuff. But I will say,
Yeah.
people that people are going to show up that are relating to other famous streamers and whatnot, so I will recommend them to go check you out. um and maybe the content isn't necessarily the same. Everybody's sort of
Hmm.
interested in different things, but the
Exactly.
important thing is, we're sort of all friends hanging out together. So even if it's not sort of thing that we're interested in, we'd like to like come watch you, at the very least, and
Community.
hang out
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, exactly. I've done that with a lot of people and whatnot, which also brings me to another topic that I wanted to discuss with you of streaming in general, because I I don't really like Twitch. I don't like
Hmm.
streaming or streamers, and I kind of wanted to
Hmm.
ask, how did you get into doing that sort of thing?
Sure. So at the end of March 2020 when COVID was going on. Typically, my job is a senior accountant, but the business I was working for didn't make it through it all, but I got laid off. So I started, I always had gamed, but gaming a lot more with my friends. And a couple of them were streaming on Mixer, and I was kind of meeting a lot of streamers on Mixer. And then Mixer shut down, so a lot of them went to Twitch. And um, everybody was like, gosh, you should stream, like you say some crazy stuff. Like sometimes I get wildly inappropriate. I grew up
Oh,
around boys. Or sometimes it's like, just my knowledge is a little bit different than some people. But they were like, people would just love you. People would just love you.
you
And
mean you're
somebody sent
quirky?
me, yeah, I'm very awkward and quirky. And I have a lot of different sides to me. Like, I don't have multiple personalities, but you would think I did. Like, I'll just randomly start talking in a different voice sometimes, or
Well,
I'll
that's
say
just
something
I
completely off topic.
I feel like a
It
lot
just,
of people do that though. At least the people I hang out with,
yeah,
I fun people, people that are weird, and like uh
unique. Yeah.
well, here's the thing is that like voice actors and whatnot, they don't necessarily have different personalities, but they have these characters. Sometimes they get into character and they start doing that voice or whatever, or something will happen and be like, "Hey, you there? How are you going?" "Oh no, something terrible's happened." "Hey, now hell about you, my friend. How about we go and get this here southern thing going on?" They
Yeah.
they they change voice, and that's just like a fun thing to do and pursue, and I think it's very fun.
100. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it makes people laugh. Like it makes people stop and pay attention for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, what just happened? And why does she sound different or whatnot? So I don't know. They convinced me, and I have super bad anxiety. Um,
Mm.
very bad anxiety. So I was too nervous to start with a camera or anything. Um, but then eventually everybody was like, I was getting more followers, and they're like, somebody bought me like a nice camera. So I started streaming with a camera, and I just kind of slowly got used to it. And it kind of actually helped my anxiety because I constantly had people there to, like I never get on camera and pretend to be happy. Like if something's bothering me, people know, and I've just never hid that. And that's kind of how I've connected with a lot of my communities, just being real 100% of the time. Like most
Yeah,
of the
that's
time,
the
yeah, I'm
way
in
to
a great
go.
mood and I'm hyped up, but sometimes I have a bad day, and that's okay. I think that's normal, and
Yeah,
I want people to
exactly.
be able to come in and say like when I say, "Hey, how are you doing today?" know that they can be like, "I'm not doing great. Here's what's going on." And the whole
Mm-hmm.
chat can have a conversation about it and they walk away feeling better. So, yeah, it kind of just that's kind of how it grew. And then the team that I'm currently on asked me to join them maybe 3 or 4 months ago now. And so things have really picked up since then. Um, and yeah, so now I just spend a lot more time doing it and learning a lot about OBS and building different scenes. And um, yeah, I can't believe it. It's going to be a year on Twitch in five
Wow.
days.
Congrats.
So yeah,
I
pretty
just
wild.
started, so.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I've been slowly jotting down notes of like tangents of like things I want to discuss into.
Yeah.
Um, but sort of continuing with the thing that we're going on with currently. Uh, sort of, you've been streaming for a while and you've got like a pretty consistent, I guess, schedule or whatever. Um, like theme and sort of you sort of figured out what your niche is basically
Hmm.
what you're sort of presenting and trying to go for and whatnot.
Hmm.
um just sort of quickly, what sort of like how many viewers do you think you get on average or whatever? Do you stream like
Um,
every day, or is it like a special event when it happens or something? I assume it's
um,
pretty common ish.
for me to stream,
Yeah.
like my schedule. So I'm like an insomniac. I don't sleep a lot.
Like most
Uh,
streamers.
Yeah. So, I do stream a lot overnight. I seem to get a lot of views in the middle of the night. My whole like thing is PUBG After Dark, where
When
because
the
people were like,
gamers arise.
yeah, and we talk about things that you talk about after dark. It's a very adult stream, but
Yeah, I got that vibe when I jumped in
yeah.
briefly. I
Yeah.
felt so uncomfortable because I was like, ooh, like
Yeah.
PUBG and, like weed and monsters and Mountain Dew. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, no. And then, like, someone subscribed and it showed aliens twerking. And I'm like, I don't belong here.
I know I told you I'm very a very
It was
I don't
funny,
even know
though.
the word.
I did have like
Like
this brief moment of like, my view on this person has changed dramatically.
yeah, you were probably like, this is like the soft-spoken person, and but like
Well, it's weird
I
because since I friended you, I've seen you like constantly playing PUBG, and I'm just like, huh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. I play a lot of PUBG. It's I just started playing the more like the ranked, more competitive side.
Hmm.
So it's been like playing a
Yeah,
lot more than I normally do.
PUBG isn't a bad game, and I kind of upset that people say it's a a dead game. Actually, you
Mhm.
know what's a dead game? Ring of freaking Elysium. Ring of Elysium is. Do you know what it is?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, Ring of Elysium it's sort of like PUBG. It's like the war face of PUBG. You know Warface, right?
Right, so
Okay.
you're saying like well,
Um, Ring of Elysium is um, you know, King of the Hill, Last Man Standing, whatever it's called. It's that game
Battle
mode.
Royale.
It's PUBG. Yes, Battle Royale. Excuse me. Uh,
No, you're good. Yeah.
it's exactly like that, but how it started is that it had this theme of snow environment. So you're on this mountainside and you have three classes of hang glider, rock climber, or snowboarder. So you can get around the map super like quick and easy. There's zip lines too and whatnot, and uh, you know, those lifts, like snowboarding lifts to get up and down the mountain really quick. And rather than, having the gas coming in, it's the frost, the cold frost basically coming in, that if you have like certain equipment like a heater or whatnot, you can survive out in the cold. And it's also not a straight circle, like certain areas get cut off and sometimes it's like a jagged line. And there's just like so much, all these little intricate little things that are really fun and interesting, but it's honestly almost a little bit more or less janky than PUBG is. Like, I feel like PUBG's old enough that it's gotten like all this attention and love now that it's doing better than, when it first came out, where it was super buggy,
Super
especially with
glitchy.
cars and
Hmm.
whatnot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, there aren't vehicles in Ring of Elysium, as far as I know. At least not when it started. There might be now. Oh yes, there are now. There's like, you know, tracked vehicles, and like skidoos, or not skidoos. Skidoos are on water. It's like the,
No,
the,
Sea-Doo is water, Ski-Doo is snow.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah. But it's like the snowmobile,
Hmm.
stuff like that. But they've also released a new version, where it's not snow themed, but it's desert themed. And you're like in this canyon, and then there's rock slides, and that's what blocks you off and whatnot. It's like really themed and interesting and fun, but nobody plays it.
Hmm.
It's got like this very niche sort of like old, like the dark side of Steam, where like only the very vaguest people know about it and play it. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I played it. It was a lot of fun. I'm not super interested in games like that. I played Ring of Elysium. It was pretty fun. The problem is that it's, games like that, mostly multiplayer games, are really only fun with friends. If you looked at a game, not just games like that, but if you look at something and stop and consider, would I play this by myself, you'd probably say no. you'd probably do other things like watch TV or something. It's not that interesting to do by yourself, especially where it's team games and survival and whatnot. You wouldn't want to team
Hmm.
up with randos or whatever.
Exactly.
um
Yep.
but yeah, maybe you should check out Ring of Elysium. I don't know if you'd be interested, but it's kind of it's interesting. It's worth a look, I would say.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that one.
That was just sort of a very brief tangent. um but I did wanted to sort of go into, you have a lot of, I guess what I'm trying to ask about is your fan base. Do you have like a Discord? Do you have like reoccurring members that you hang out,
Yeah.
that you've sort of made friends because of that, or they, you know, what's sort of that story, I suppose.
Yeah. I have quite a few members of my community who are in there, if not every time I stream, every other time I stream, um, or people who keep me constantly tagged. I do have a Discord and a Discord community. Um, we'll do things like Among Us night where I kind of rotate viewers in and out so that everybody gets time to play, like community night type stuff, which helps because a lot of people in my community have gotten to know each other as well. Um, and then I spend a lot of time in other people's streams when I'm not streaming, during the day, checking them out, supporting them. Um, so the whole community is just really supportive, and a lot of people know each other. So it's nice because my viewership, um, sometimes like this weekend, probably viewership will be down for everyone, 4th of July weekend. But
Yeah.
depending on the day, yeah, and then you get raids, and so I have, you know, I play with somebody like Falazide, who's a really really talented PUBG player, lots of viewers, or Fringe. And then they get offline, they raid me, and then everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you streamed." So you get people that way too. They're
Yeah.
like, "I've been talking to you in chats for 6 months. I had no idea you streamed." Um, and then all of a sudden you're seeing them in your chat all the time as well. So it's kind of, and then it's cool to see like people like who will send you a DM and they'll be like, "Hey, you had this conversation on your stream. I was having a rough day. It really helped me out. I did some fan art for you." And when that starts to happen, it's kind of just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm doing something right," and
So you are
um
famous.
no. I'm not famous, but
If you have fan art, you're famous. I'm sorry.
it's very very cool. Very
Nobody's
very
ever
cool
drawn
thing to
me.
see. Yeah, here, I'll see
Actually,
if
that's
I
not
list.
true. I have one person that drew me, and it was back in high school. Do you want to see it? It's freaking terrible.
I bet it's not. I bet it's
um,
not that.
this is gonna be a weird story. Oh my goodness, there's gonna be a lot of weird stories.
All
In
right, I just sent you a picture of my favorite fan art.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah.
Can I put
Yeah.
that on the stream?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's like really cute.
Yeah, my hair's green a lot of the time. It's getting healthy right now. So, yeah, I got that and I was just like, "Oh my gosh."
I have a weird story.
Okay, let's hear it.
Back in high school, one of the things I would do is I'm like trying to do two things at once, so I'm like really struggling.
Okay.
Because I don't do well doing that. So I'm trying to find this at the same time. Um, but what in science class, I'm like really struggling with the heck. Where the heck is? Oh, wait. I bet I know where it is. This is probably not where it is, but I'm still gonna check anyways. Science class. Science class has weird tables, where
Yeah.
it's like plastic or whatever, so that if you like
Mhm.
drop stuff on it, it still works or whatever.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't melt through it. They don't do wood. Oh, the reason why they do that is so that you can actually like clean it. Like it doesn't
Hmm.
get into the wood. I remember now.
Hmm.
Um, I remember. Oh my goodness, here it is. Why is it in here? Okay. I don't know why, but like when we were hanging out just randomly during class or whatever, I would hang out with like this one person that I did know, uh, and she and I would always sort of sit in the same desk at the front because teenagers always want to sit to the back of the class so they can sleep or text or whatever. So we just sat front because we didn't care, and we were actually paying attention and doing notes.
Hmm.
Um, but I remember, I was a silly kid. I would run in, like, jump and slide across the table or whatever. Um, before class, before we had set up like our notebooks and whatnot. Um, but I remember one day I like was resting my head, and then I like stood up, and because I had crossed my arms and put my head down, they're like it left like a print. You could see like my hands, and then you could see like my face, but it was only like the nose and like my forehead. So it looked kind of like a moose, but then, I like kept doing face prints because I don't know why, but it just looked like spoons. And like it started making my friend laugh or whatever, so I kept bonking my head into the desk over and over repeatedly to make all these spoon shapes on the desk.
Oh my.
And it got to be a meme that I have like an army of spoons, and like we kept going back to it, and we would always laugh at it. And so that's the that's the fan art that I have. And this is the only fan art that's ever been done of me, is me and my army of spoons.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm riding a whale for whatever reason.
Oh my
And I also have
gosh.
a headset, but I don't I don't wear a headset. I've never worn a headset.
Yeah, that's
Um,
interesting.
Actually, that's not true. I've worn a Siberia headset, because that's the one that had my mic when I first started doing stuff and whatnot. Um, yeah, so this is gonna be on the screen for a while because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Me and my army of spoons. Oh wait, no, hold on.
Gives people
There's
something to
more
look
of
at.
it. Oh, that is all of it. Okay. Um, oh, I need to move this. So no, it's very important that there's always a GIF on your screen, so if the stream ever freezes, people can tell. Um, that's just
Hmm.
sort of like a self-taught rule. That's not like anything I've
Yeah,
learned.
that's how
Um,
they know you're live. Yeah.
yeah. Well, if you have a game active, you're pretty good. But you know,
Yeah.
when it's just a podcast and all you've got is a static image, you gotta have something. So that's a weird little story about me. That's the only fan art I've ever gotten.
Hey,
So
it's fan art.
yeah, you are more famous than me. You have a community. I've only ever like joined other communities and sort of helped support those and build those up and whatnot. But I've also never really had like my own thing, I guess, my own shtick, basically.
Yeah.
I do have a YouTube channel, but I
Yeah.
never really had like a theme. I always wanted to be like casual gamer and play. You know what I have the most views on? Freaking Bejeweled. I've done like
Really?
2 Bejeweled videos, and it was literally me like, hey, I don't feel like trying to do another series right now or whatever. And it's like the most viewed thing. I guess like not many people play Bejeweled or something or whatever, but it was also like one of those games where I did like an important announcement on my channel or whatever, and was just sort of talking. Actually, I was podcasting, to be perfectly honest, and playing Bejeweled. Um, so I guess that was kind of cool. Um, I think I have like 300 views on it or something. It
Oh
probably
wow.
more now. Yeah, yeah. I don't really get a whole lot of views. I did play Overwatch for a while. That's probably about it. I did play some games all the way through, but you know, there wasn't really a series, I suppose, that sort of was Popular, I've never really had a whole lot of viewership, so I'm not very well known. But I never really was trying to be. I can monetize my
Mm-hmm.
videos, but I don't. I choose not to, because I'm not trying to make money or whatever. Plus, you need like 10 views per 1 cent or something, and I was getting maybe 6 views or whatever. So it was like not worth it in the slightest.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that's part of growing a community is it takes time and it takes effort, and if you're not trying, it makes sense that it hasn't happened. But you're also, you said you support other communities, so
yeah.
that's, that's a huge part of it is just getting to know
Yeah,
people
definitely
and
finding other people and sort of sharing
Mhm.
communities and building and whatnot. Um,
Exactly.
but I also don't have like a specific schedule or upload or thing that I'm trying to portray. I don't have like my niche thing yet,
Hmm.
which brings me back to one of the things that I wanted to touch on, which is, you know, your like personality, like as a streamer, like what are you presenting, like what's your content, or how are you different than other content creators that are doing the same game, this, that, and the other thing. And a lot of that does come from personality,
Hmm.
and I feel like you saying that you're weird or quirky or whatever is like a good thing because it does sort of help separate you from everyone else. Not necessarily that that's sort of what defines you, but I think it is like a good thing to have that a lot of people don't pursue. Um, Especially when YouTube was getting popular, everyone sort of felt like they could do it, but they never really got as popular as these very specific YouTubers that have very interesting personalities. Not just because they're smart or they're talented or they're funny, but they have this very specific thing that they're good at, and that's sort of how they, you know, got going. Um, and I was sort of
Yeah.
wondering what do you think what yours is? I could go first if you want, but I wanted to ask.
Yeah, for me, I guess that is probably the number one thing I hear when I get like a new follower or somebody who comes in the community and, you know, they sub like right after they follow. It's kind of that's pretty quick for somebody to start spending money on your channel. And I'll make a comment like, "Oh, wow, you're, like subscribing already. Wow." And a lot of people are like, "I just love your personality. Like you're just so different." And I think part of that is I wasn't ever trying to be different. My anxiety is when I first started streaming, even without a camera, was just I have to be me. Like, and that changes based on how I'm feeling or what I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
I make some really out there comments sometimes, or have some very intense conversations with chat sometimes, and people are just like, I love that you don't hold back. Like, what you're feeling is what you do. And
Yeah, that's really
I
important.
think that's kind of helped me, yeah, stand out from a lot of other people who maybe play the same game as me. So it's definitely helped that the one thing that made me different, all growing up, is the thing that's kind of helping me stand out now. And um, I don't know, I love it. And it helps with my anxiety, so it's good for me too.
Yeah, because if you're being yourself, you're being real, which is like a good thing, and you sort of get to vent that a little bit, I guess. There
Yeah.
are some people I see like a lot of streamers that have like face on, or like they're VTubers or whatever, like they're trying to portray a specific personality, and that can be really draining. I know,
Oh yeah.
like personally, as a content creator, constantly putting yourself out there or trying to present something that isn't like your natural state.
It's
If you're
hard,
just like
yeah.
a game goblin sitting there playing video games, that's like really easy to do. But sometimes trying to stream and trying to play good, and trying to talk to chat and everybody and this, that, and the other thing can be like not necessarily stressful, but can like definitely wear on a person where they need
Oh,
to take a break from video games, which is like sad, but like it's
oh
true. It's
yeah.
a real thing.
It is, absolutely. I've taken a couple mental health breaks is what I call them because even with being who I am and I don't present somebody I'm not, which I do know a lot of streamers who are really good at it. They do a really good job, and a lot of people don't even necessarily know that's their character unless they sit in a Discord call with them and know them outside streaming.
Mm-hmm.
But they get exhausted of doing that. Where with me, I get a lot of positive comments, but there's always trolls. There's always going to be trolls, people who come in and want to tear you down or, start drama. And
Mm-hmm.
that gets really draining, as well as just, you know, being a girl in general. I don't have
Oh.
the confidence to get on stream and stream without makeup or,
Oh.
like I don't dress up. I wear hoodies 24/7 pretty much, but
I thought you were saying
um
that it was hard being like a streamer that's a girl because of like how people react to that.
exactly, exactly. I'm very comfortable with my personality, but when it comes to like looks and the stereotypes and um
How come you wearing a
societal
hoodie? You
standards.
should you should relax. Take some clothes off. Like,
Yeah.
excuse me?
Yeah, exactly. Like, when are you doing a hot tub stream? Because that's all the rage. Never. You will never see me do that. That's not who I am.
I'll do a hot tub stream.
I don't even fucking show cleavage. Get out of my chat. What are you talking about? Like, you're talking to the wrong girl. Anybody who's been in my chat for 5 minutes knows that that wouldn't ever happen with me. Like, I'm not like that. But a lot of people come in and say that. Or, there are people who you deal with people who come in and they're like, "Oh, you're so beautiful." And you're like, "Thank you." Like they really bring you up, but then it's instantly, "Well, are you single? Where do you live?" And it's like, "Come on now. Like this isn't Tinder, it's Twitch." Like
Yeah, exactly.
stop. Just sit back and chill for a little bit. Like you don't even know who I am yet. How are you going to come in here with that? But it does get
Well, I
draining.
can
So
get to know
I
you.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
will say real quick. Sorry, this is a mild tangent that I want to go on. It is
No.
hard to get to know people, especially people who are, you know, quote unquote famous or celebrities. It feels like there's like such a disconnect until you like sit down like and get to talk to them, and sometimes that is difficult because they're like busy with like streaming or whatever, or
Mhm.
they've got like this whole life planned around their job, which is like this thing that they're doing. So it is hard to sort of relate to those people sometimes, but they are
Mhm.
just human beings. If
Exactly.
you want, if there is someone that you think is cool and you like them and you want to like hang out with them, it doesn't have to be weird. You don't have to be like, you know concerned. And I'm like this too. I There are people that I genuinely like and want to spend time with, and I'm afraid that they're thinking that I'm attracted to them, or I'm only spending time with them because they're famous. I
Mhm.
That's a constant fear that I have. um and so
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I just can't even like approach them sometimes. Not just
Yeah.
because like, oh, they're so famous, and like, I don't care. I
Mhm.
legitimately don't care. I honestly sometimes don't like people who are like celebrities, because sometimes they have that tendency,
Mhm.
where they are
Yeah.
sort of not necessarily better than people, but they're sort of higher up and sort of don't give people the time of day.
Right.
If you look at us like small time streamers down here, if someone donates like 2 bits, like, it's noticeable. But like some of those people, you donate like 100 bits and they don't even bat an eye. They're like, oh, hey, thanks. Anyways,
Yeah.
you know.
I would never want to be that person because, like, I said this maybe, I don't remember what 6 or 7 months ago. I was having a conversation with someone, and um, I had just rated someone, and there were people gifting bits, and they didn't say anything. And I was like, if I ever become the person who doesn't say thank you for any bit, any follow, any sub, tell me to quit because I don't ever want to be the person who thinks that somebody's money isn't important to me, much less their time. Like people are spending time with me, and that is a Like when I think about it and I have 80 viewers in my chat, I'm like, that's 80 people who could be watching Netflix right now. That's 80 people who could be doing anything else,
Well,
you
they
know, and
are. They're
80
watching
people.
you.
Yeah, and
They
that's
could
like
be
a big
Netflix and
deal for me.
chilling while watching you.
They could be. Either way, they're spending time with me and that's a
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that, for everybody who comes in. And kind of getting back to your point where like I get anxiety where I have a hard time talking to people and building relationships in
Mm-hmm.
person. And so Twitch has really helped me like build relationships because these people I see in other chats or people who come into my chat, the more and the more they come in, and I always get surprised by this, which blows my mind, but they come in for like the third or fourth time and I'll ask them a question like, "Oh, how's your dog doing?" Because the last time they were in, their dog was sick. And they'll be like, "You remember that?" Like,
Oh
"Yeah."
yeah, I remember that. I
Of
was there
course I
for
remember
that.
that. Yeah. And they're just like, "Wow, that's incredible." And I'm like, "Well, I like having the size community I have now because I'm able to do that, right? I don't have
Mm-hmm.
thousands of people typing to me in chat where I can't keep up. Um, there
Yeah.
are times where it gets overwhelming, but for the most part, I get to actually know the people who are in my chat. And I think that's, you know, part of what makes me successful to the point I'm successful because I get to build relationships with people. And
I have two interjections that I want to make.
okay.
One of them is the only subscribers that I have on YouTube are specific people that I know, which kind of, is a little sad, but at the same time also, worries me and stresses me out. Like, those are people that I know, those are people that I care about and want to impress and want to do like good content for. So sometimes that sort of wigs me out or whatever.
Hmm.
I will say that, because there is a disconnect, um, sometimes it is easier to just sort of hang out and be yourself rather than, I have social anxiety, so hanging out with people, person to person, is very difficult. I
Hmm.
I can't even do VR chat. It's like that
Yeah.
that alone just like completely bogs me down.
Hmm.
But one on one, I can take it really easy and like actually spend time and get to know people, which is really good. The other interjection that I wanted to do is, you know, sometimes what I like to do is I get bits just because I want animated emotes. So sometimes when people call it like, "Hey, thank you for the 1 bit," I'm just like, do you really have to, like, come on, like. And there
Yeah.
are some people that, spam the channel with like 10 1 bits, just to like
Hmm.
spam the chat and whatnot. And I feel like there is like a certain point where you don't have to be like, "Hey, thank you for the," how many
Yeah.
bits is that, like 13, okay. You
Right.
don't have to freaking call out every single one, but
No.
it is, and I think a lot of the times that I think major streamers is that they are focusing on something. You can't read every 100
No.
message that
Yeah.
happens every second. And sometimes people do donate 100 bits or something, and maybe you're in the middle of combat and you're focusing,
Hmm.
and they it's hard for them to get back to that. I know that I get distracted when I'm doing stuff, not just when I'm streaming, but like if I'm, playing a game or something, or even recording. It's sort of hard to relate back to something if I'm like so focused. Specifically, for me, because I can't multitask. So if I see a message pop up, I just have to stop everything and then go and read it and like, acknowledge that it's there before moving on. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
kind of difficult for me.
Yeah. It took some getting used to, and I still thankfully a lot of people that watch PUBG typically play it or they understand kind of TPS, FPS gaming to the point where they realize when I'm in the middle of a fight or if there's 10 alive, I'm not going to be staring at chat. Um, but I do struggle sometimes. I'll get like super zoned out in a game, even if we're not in combat, like we're just driving to the next zone or looting and I'll just forget to look at chat and I instantly feel guilty when I look over and I'm missing things. That takes time. That took a lot of time and I'm not great at it, but it is a lot of multitasking sometimes, especially when if you don't have good mods, you got to shout people out and
Oh, yeah. Mods are
or your mods are
important.
asleep. Yeah. I typically have at least one mod always there now, but um
You could just turn off chat, though.
I could, but that's why I do it. I like to talk. I like being able to talk to
True.
people. So,
I do have a funny little story. I have a friend who has been streaming for a while. They got partnered, and they just recently got affiliate. I joined their stream due to I was watching someone stream and they rated them, and I just like instantly liked them, and I was like, hey. How do I spend money on you? And they're like, no, no, please, I can't do that. I'm not affiliated. Like 4 more streams, and I'm like, all right, I'll be back in 4 streams. And
yeah.
I've like been joining every single stream, and then as soon as they got affiliated, as soon as I like immediately subs, I was super upset that I wasn't the first subscriber. It was their moderators still,
Yeah.
but I was the first subscription, for a year,
There
because
you
it's just cheaper
go.
to buy a year, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And yesterday I dropped like 5,000 bits or 50,000 bits on them.
Oh my
I
gosh.
just like completely broke them. It
Yeah.
was
That's when you
very
get
good.
emotional.
It was
Yeah.
very fun. I should send you some of the clips or something. Um,
Yeah. Those
it
are
was
those are fun streams to be a part of when
when you
you
break
know
people.
somebody's yeah, and they're just like so grateful. I I've only cried on stream a couple of times, but they were all hype train related. Like it's very overwhelming sometimes. Like
I will
it's
say
very
that I do have a bit of you know, I am known for breaking people on stream. Um,
yeah. You like to break people, you
I
say.
don't like to break people, but that's what I'm known for. I've got a bit of a reputation. That's the word I was looking for. The spending money on people. Recently, I did sort of get back into watching streamers again because one of my friends reached out to me, um, and they were having a bad time, and that's sort of why I left. But now I'm back, and then I joined his stream, and then I donated. He's like, "Oh my goodness, that's so helpful because I actually don't have a whole lot of money right now." And it's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
this is like perfect." It like feels good to help people and support them, like to feel like you're making a difference and whatnot, and not just making people happy, but like actually supporting them and whatnot. Um,
Exactly.
I will say that the reason why I did all those donations yesterday is because uh, I had just recently donated, so I was pretty poor. I also just bought a Vive, and I need to save up for a computer because apparently my computer can't support the Vive. Um, but yeah, they was like, don't donate to me. You need to save up your money. And I was like, stop saying that. That's all I hear. Sparrow, save your money. Sparrow, save your money. I'm tired of hearing that. Stop saying it. And they're like, I'm gonna keep saying it. And I'm like, that's it. And I like went and purchased a bunch of bits. I like maxed out one credit card and then the other one.
Oh my gosh.
And the
Wild.
reason why I did bits instead of subs is, well, bits are like straightforward. Subs are good for popular streamers that have like a bunch of viewers that maybe can't afford a subscription. Subscriptions are good if they're like actual tiers that like give you stuff or whatever, like emotes and whatnot. But
Hmm.
bits are good because you can buy sound things.
Yeah.
And one of the most expensive things that they have is 10,000 bits, which is make me say that I'm cute, and I'll even sing a song. And so it plays a sound. It's like, let's face it, come on and embrace it. Do 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 do. I'm cute. I'm cute, I don't know what the song is, but it's like an actual song apparently. The first time that I did it, like, no, what the, but then they like instantly got into it. I think they like actually enjoyed the song. I assume so. That's sort of why they put it up. The second time I put it up, they like were really struggling. Like, nah, they could barely keep in time with it. They were still saying the words, but they were really struggling. The third time, they were just completely broken, stopped playing, just sort of mumbling. The fourth time, they were just completely incapacitated and couldn't do anything, like not even hum along to it. By the fifth time, they just decided that they had to end stream.
Oh my god. Oh, you
They
literally
did
broke
they did
them.
beat the game though. They did beat the game.
Oh well, that's
Yeah,
important.
that's good.
That's important. Wow.
It was a
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda randomizer.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. um so here's the thing is that, unless I'm challenged, unless there's like something that sets me off, I probably won't do anything. The only thing is that if a hype train starts, I don't start hype trains, I end them. I make them happen.
You're one of those.
If I'm ever around a hype train, it always gets full. It always gets finished and then some.
Yeah, that's important though. That's
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
you get
You get a
a
lot of good
conductor
stuff if you
badge
get a hype
for
train.
yeah.
I don't know what it is or how it works. I just know that a lot of people freak out, so I'm all for it.
They're overwhelming, yeah, in a good way, but you're just like, "Oh my gosh, all these people, like this is insane." And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a good way to break someone for sure.
I have I've got some friends that are VR chat streamers, so I like actually get to physically see them be able to stop walking around and like fall to their knees, and they're just like, no, why? It's
Yeah.
it's a good time. You know, it's good to sort of break down and have that where like your worst fears are realized. You're embarrassed. You just let all that out. You
Yep.
just stop and you just release. And there's something so healthy about that. It's like crying. I feel like a lot of people hold back crying because they feel like it's weakness, or like it's not good, but
Hmm.
it's honestly one of the most healthiest things that you can do. It's like how you get
Exactly.
through stuff and whatnot.
Yeah. You can't move on until you process, so
And just
you
sort
gotta
of
let
let that
yourself
stuff
feel it.
out.
Yeah.
I i can't cry. I like sealed that ability away when I was very young. um so like I don't really have an outlet for a lot of things, and I'm
Mhm.
also troubled because I can't not care. I can't like stop caring or whatever. So sometimes little things just like affect me, which normal people would be able to, either not notice or they'd be able to ignore and move on. But like that stuff just builds up until, if I like drop a pencil, I just want to punch something. It's like it gets that bad. Um,
Mhm.
and it should never get to that point. Um, but yeah, I don't really have like a good answer to that. I'm like looking at my notes of all the tangents that I want to go over, and I'm like trying to decide what's the next one to go to. Um, I guess one of the things that we sort of discussed, that maybe we can touch on briefly, is the disconnect from chat to streamer. I
Mhm.
know that personally I don't do well talking, but no, I do really good typing to people. I prefer to text rather than to call. I feel like there's a whole lot
Mhm.
of dead air. I don't have a lot to say, but I'm a pretty good writer, so I like to be able to, I suppose, take the time to figure out what sort of message I'm going to compose, and I'm pretty quick, and I've got good grammar. I feel like I look a lot smarter, I suppose, when I'm typing than when I do talking. Um,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of times where I'm watching people stream or whatever, and I send like a message in the chat saying, "Hey, can I join the Discord call and just hang out with you guys?" And they say yes, and that's like really cool. Like, not just because it's special, but it feels more real, like you're actually in the room where it happened. You can just sort
Yeah.
of sit down and hang out and have a good time. um, I will
Yeah.
say that recently I did. We were having discussion, and I'm like, "Get me in the voice call now. I need to talk to you. I need to tell you something." And I'll give them like words of encouragement, and make them like, well, you know, uh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you sort of discussed how it's a good thing for you, um, not because it's sort of like an elevated position, but sort of it's a more casual approach to being able to discuss or something. You want to go over that real quick, like between the streamer and chat sort of thing? What's your view on that?
As far as text chat, like when I'm actually streaming,
Right.
yeah, so I
From the
think,
from the perspective of being a streamer versus being in the chat, I'm sure you've watched other people stream as well.
oh yeah.
How does it differ, so to speak?
I definitely pick up on things watching other people, like, oh wow, I hope I don't do that in my stream. Like you can tell sometimes they like read over a comment. So like one thing I try to do with my chat is even if it's a comment that makes me uncomfortable or I don't want to answer, which happens quite a bit when people are trolling, right? Or, like maybe not trolling, but they've been in my chat a couple times and they want to know something more personal that I don't, really want to discuss,
Oh,
touch on it. At least say, yeah, I don't think we're going to talk about that tonight, instead of completely disregarding them. Because it's not just that person that will feel disregarded, but there could be other people in chat who see you completely skim over it and say, well, that was kind of rude, or, you know, you never know how people will perceive you. So as I like, I'd say my biggest struggle is being myself, but also making sure I'm courteous to every single personality type that might be sitting in my chat, because not everybody's the same. Not everybody may not like my personality, but they might like my gameplay, or vice versa. I'm not the greatest PUBG player, but maybe they like my personality.
well,
Sometimes we talk about really wild and crazy stuff, and sometimes we get super serious, or
yeah.
just making sure I'm engaging with chat. A lot of times, chat is engaging with each other,
Yeah.
and it's hard to keep up because they're all talking to each other. So just making sure I keep checking in, like making sure I'm keeping up with what's going on in my chat, even if I can't respond or I know they're content talking to each other. Just
Right.
keeping up with chat is important, and then involving them as much as you can. So community nights, like sub games, viewer games, everybody getting in Discord just to have like
We
a
should play
chat.
Jackbox.
Yeah, Jackbox, stuff like that, where people get to get involved. Custom games. I did custom games a couple weeks ago and everybody loved it. We had like 18 people in the party, and we were all just doing random things on PUBG, and everybody got to pitch in. They're like, okay, let's do a sniper only war mode, and let's do a TDM 8v8, but we can only use shotties. And everybody just loved it because they all got to contribute. It was all,
So you're playing
they
with
got to
other
make all the,
people from your Discord?
from my community. Yeah, people who were in
Cool.
my chat, my Discord. Yeah. And it was their
That
night.
would be
I let them make
great
the
if you
decision.
got your entire Discord server in a game, so it's just like 100 of all of you. So you all knew who you were fighting. That'd be great.
So we
That'd be
don't
great to
use,
set up.
yeah, we use for PUBG, when we're doing PUBG, we use Xbox Party because a lot of people don't have the capability to do Discord and Xbox. But like
Oh.
when we do Among Us or even Jackbox, like marbles on stream, stuff like that, we have a crap ton of people in Discord calls, and that's super fun. It gets overwhelming because there's a lot of people talking,
Hmm.
but it's just fun because they feel like, okay, this stream tonight is all about them, and they get to make the calls, and that's really cool for people who don't stream. You know what I mean? It's very
Hmm.
cool because they feel like they're calling the shots and it's their deal, and I love it. It's like, you know,
Yeah, that was something that I wanted to touch on, is that you are the streamer. You are the one that's in charge. You have to be the one to, make decisions. It's like when I make decisions as the DM, like, technically speaking, I'm the one that's in charge. I have to take responsibility of the situation. Maybe I do have to kick someone out of chat, or
hmm
just sort of straight up say what's going on here, and like give a verdict. Basically, there's nothing wrong with that.
oh,
I feel like a lot of people are afraid of like being rude, or being too overpowered, but people
you
are
have to.
here to see you,
Hmm
and if there are people that aren't, then they can leave. And you shouldn't be afraid of like dealing with that, because that's the whole point, really. That's the whole reason why you're here, showing yourself, which is a great thing, because if you're just being yourself, then that's great. I think we've all seen enough Disney films to realize that trying to be something that you're not doesn't work out, and it's better
Yeah,
just to be yourself to start with, because there are going to be people that like you for who you are.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It does take. You do have to have some tough skin, and you have to be able to say, "Hey, that's not okay," or um, a lot of times, like that's what's important too when you're picking your moderators. I have
I see you,
one
Dr.
moderator.
Forrester. He's lurking.
Oh, Lurk.
I think he's
Um,
been the one person that's been watching from the very beginning, or maybe he joined late, and I think it's Lolly Prince that's been watching the entire time. I don't remember.
yeah. I mean,
I can see like
yeah,
the users in the chat, but it's not like very accurate. Because
yeah. It takes a while to update, and yeah. Um, do you use a bot yet?
I do have a mod bot. I don't know what their name is. However, every single time I start, Academy Impossible is always here.
There are some Twitch bots that are always in chats. Um, but Academy Impossible is actually a stream. They're live right now.
Hmm. Okay. Um.
So that's a person.
Cool.
That's
I also see that another TTV viewer is here.
that is a
That
bot,
that's a
right?
view. That's a bot.
Yeah, that's always in everybody's chats. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never seen it before, like just recently. So
Hopefully, I didn't bring that to you. You'll see there's like bots that Twitch has that collect data
oh,
for,
gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
what group, where to put you on what pages and whatnot.
Cool. Cool.
But
Oh,
yeah, I
this is
usually
just my
set up
third
bots.
stream. Or actually, technically, this is my third podcast. I have streamed two more times before this. Um, and you want those stories, those sad stories,
Oh,
how nobody showed up.
it happens. It happens. It happens to me, and I have over 1,000 followers, and
Well, I
still,
don't mind doing it when I'm like podcasting or whatever, but I feel like when you stream, it feels like you should have people there live. Like that's the whole point. But like
it is.
coming from YouTube, where I'm used to recording, you know, it doesn't feel nearly as bad. Also, I feel like when I'm recording, I kind of forget that this is going up later. Sometimes I am aware of it, but sometimes I'm just sort of playing the game or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but when oh, I freaking forgot what I was going. Oh, I was going to touch on, when you're recording, you can always just edit stuff, montage it later. So when you're streaming, it feels like you have to sort of be constant and alive, like the entire time.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but when there's nobody around, you kind of feel like it's just sort of dead, and you're not sure why, and you're not sure if you should be doing better or something. There's just like, it's hard to find, people that are very obscure as well. Um, but
Yeah.
for my first stream, I invited like 5 different Discord servers that I was a part of. I had been talking to many different people and, invited them like, hey, I'm going to do a stream on this day. Do you think you'd be down? And they all said yes. They'd make some time. They couldn't maybe be there for the entire thing. Nobody showed up. Absolutely nobody. It was my freaking birthday. I streamed my favorite game. I got up in the morning, streamed 9 hours straight, beat the game. Nobody showed up.
That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of
Yeah.
what made me decide that I don't want to be a streamer. Like, there's no point. Like, I don't need to. If I have to struggle so hard to make a community that I then have to upkeep, it's like not really worth it. I could go back to YouTube where I can make content at my own pace and it lasts. I feel like
Right.
that's more important. The other thing is that the reason why I started doing YouTube is because I just wanted to preserve and make memories. That
Yep.
was the whole point. Like, I don't care about being popular or, having viewers or, a community necessarily. But I was sort of doing YouTube for me. Um, and I sort of don't expect to get popular or whatever. Um,
Right.
but yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's more important just to have your own, like you said, your own memories, your own, not so much everything else.
Well, if you're not doing it for you, well, like you can do it for other people, but if you're not having fun with it, if you're not doing it to sort of pursue whatever you're trying to do it for, basically, if you're just
Hmm.
trying to make people happy, well, you're not going
You're
to make
not
them
gonna end up
happy.
happy.
There's just
Exactly.
no way to make people happy. They don't know what they want. Everybody is always going to have something that they're going to be upset about. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
I would agree. You can't
Um,
please everybody.
so I do have like some other tangents that I'd want to discuss. One of them is sort of like the YouTube versus Twitch perspective that I think we
Mhm.
both have. You're like a Twitch person, I'm a YouTube person, and I'd
Yeah.
love to go into that, but I think like that might be a bit of a longer discussion that maybe we could do in a different podcast.
Yeah, we can do that.
Maybe we should start with that next time we do one of these or something.
Yeah.
And again, we don't have to do this consistently. You can do whatever. I would love to have you on again, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And heavens
Good
knows we'll be
conversation.
free this weekend.
Yeah.
I was gonna do some Jackbox with people this weekend, so I'd love to invite you, and maybe you can stream that if you want. They'll probably be streaming, maybe, I don't know. Um, but that would be fun if we could all get like our communities together. Because once we get all the players in, the audience code is shown, so people can join the audience. It'd be awesome to get like a ton of people.
Yeah. Yeah, we can try and plan for that. I have to figure out, I have family from Chicago coming up tomorrow,
Oh, okay.
so I have no idea what my mom has planned for this weekend.
Well, tomorrow I do have my other D&D, and I will be doing that one. It's just sort of Sunday, and the weekend
Yeah.
we'll have to cancel because you know people want that 3 day weekend for Fourth of July,
Exactly.
whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, I do have some other tangents here, but is there anything that you feel like you wanted to discuss more, had questions about, or wanted to talk about?
Um, no, not
Okay.
really.
I just wanted to check in to make sure there wasn't anything that, we got sidetracked from that we didn't necessarily finish that you wanted to touch on a bit more.
Up from Chicago has state line Vietnam.
What
Oh
was that?
shit. I'm reading Forrester's comment.
Oh, up from Chicago has state line Vietnam flashbacks. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. If you could describe that. Dr. Forrester is, um, I he's another bird. Uh, when, when I'm in VR chat, I'm obviously a bird character. He's also a bird. We're sort of like bird people. Um,
When you say VR chat, what exactly are you
oh,
talking
you
about?
don't know about VR chat? It's a video game. VR
When I
chat
think VR,
is
I think VR like virtual
virtual
reality.
reality.
Like you wear the goggles
It's a video
kind of a thing.
game. It's on Steam.
Hold on, let me open my Steam here. Look at this.
It's just a bunch
It's a
of,
world of magic and wonder.
yeah.
Alright.
There's just sort of a bunch of random worlds that you can go to, and there's constantly avatars being made and introduced to the community and whatnot. There's a lot of games you can find, like bowling, but also flying. There's also cool worlds where you can control fireworks and whatnot. There's just like a bunch of random stuff, and there's like this huge community.
Is it like
Um,
Roblox, but for adults?
Roblox, I feel like it. I know what you're getting at. It's sort of like that, but not. They're not all games. There's just sort of places that you can go.
Okay.
Roblox does have some actually pretty well, good games.
Mhm.
They're like needles in a haystack, but it's like trying to find a good amnesia map.
Yeah. I'm watching the trailer on Steam for it right now.
So much degeneracy. Um, One of the things that I did want to discuss is sort of, you know, briefly how we first met.
Oh,
I feel like this should have been something we did sooner, but it's fine. Um, the For those of you who don't know or are interested, um, Virgo, Vir,
Virgo, yeah, like the
Virgo.
astronomical.
Okay, is that what
Yeah.
you prefer to be called, Virgo?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
normally what people call me, Virgo.
Okay. I'm gonna struggle with that because every single time I'm just gonna look at the. um, Virgo is the friend of someone in my D&D campaign, that I've been losing members of. So, Virgo got invited, and she just joined last session. Has a very cool character, and we're sort of working together to make a sort of backstory that weaves it into the character, which I really try very hard to do, to like not just give people options and opportunities to try interesting stuff, but whenever someone makes a character, I'm very interested in their backstory to help weave that into the story. I feel like that's very important, and interesting, as well as sort of making the player feel connected to the world, because their character is connected. And it also makes them feel a little bit cooler because they get something a little bit special. Um, but yeah, you just sort of kind of showed up. You were nervous. You knocked it out of the ballpark. You have like this amazing character. You did like such a good job, and you have this really nice voice. And I was just like, I need to spend more time with this person. This person's really cool. And then I saw your icon went purple on Discord, and I was like, huh, so they're not just playing video games, but they're streaming? Let me check this out. And then I was just like, oh. It's a very different kind of stream
Yeah.
than I'm used to. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different for sure. Yeah. I don't know how else to say that. But yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, my first impressions of you were that you were very, uh, you know, I I feel like it's such a cop out to say a fun person, but you definitely seem like you were interested in having a good time, and you weren't just sort of showing up, trying to do the thing, trying to beat the game or whatever. I feel like that
Hmm.
happens a whole lot. There's no need to win, but you had this sort of, you know, intrigue that you just sort of wanted to come into this community, hang out and have fun, which is really great for like me and what I'm trying to do as my job as the DM. So I really appreciated that, and I think you're very fun and interesting, and I'm sort of curious on what your take of the whole situation, like what's your perspective of like how we first met and how we got to this point basically.
So I had about, gosh, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of listening before they finally found me, I think. And it was so, but I actually
Oh
enjoyed that
yeah,
because
in the
it gave
session.
me, yeah,
Yeah.
in the
Well,
session.
you were supposed to be found earlier, but they didn't want to go in there, and I was like,
I know.
"Do I force it?
Yeah.
No, nothing
No.
ever good comes from forcing." And this happened earlier too, because they keep going back up to the abbey, and like the most important space is over there where the abbot is, and they never go in there, never ever 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 ever, unless like specifically the guy comes out and is like, oh yes, please come in through this specific door. And it's like been so irking me so much because there's so much over
Yeah.
there. um
Yeah.
but yeah, didn't you join like a session before that and just sort of sit in and listen?
No, no.
Oh, okay. I
That
do
was the
remember that
first
we had a discussion beforehand, and we were talking about
time. Hmm.
introducing your character, and I wasn't sure if you actually. I do know that you watched basically all of the because I had uploaded the sessions. You watched all of those. Basically, you basically caught up on the story before you joined or whatever. So you sort of knew what you were getting
You,
into, I
yeah,
suppose.
I knew enough to where, I kind of caught on really quick from listening, but I really love role play. I love, love, love role playing. So it was nice to sit there and see like, that whole scene play out with Len and Sky. Was it them two at the
Re-
campfire?
oh
And just
yeah,
kind of
yeah. When they
and,
were
like,
uh with the chest.
yes, yes. And then, like you know, I don't remember what Rage's character is, the Wanderer, when you
Yeah.
were trying to give them all their items that you created.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, "Oh, I'm just sitting over here in the shadows playing cards." So it
Yeah.
was like actually people like being in character, which was
Yeah.
nice. It was good to see. And I yeah, I mean, when I was super nervous. I love D&D, but I was super nervous also because I've never come into a campaign that's already started. So I was
You
kind of
didn't
like,
show it.
good, good. Yeah, I knew coming in I wanted to be like very short and simple with my answers, very like not give them too much
It
because
was
I
very
wouldn't know
cute.
too much.
It was like you have made like such a sweet character.
Yeah, I'm excited to play her out. Really excited.
What
So,
is love? Where
what
am I? What's my name? I don't know my name.
what is birth? Yeah. Yeah, and then it was funny to see how they reacted when I was struggling with if I knew my name or not. You saved me there with the
Yeah,
book
yeah. I
author.
freaking gave it to you.
Saved
It's
me
like
there. Yeah.
Do you need help? Because I could throw you a bone.
Yeah. You saved me. But when they were like, "Don't let Luna name you."
Yeah, exactly. Um,
She'll
I think I've told you about that character. Like, she's in both of my campaigns. She cannot decide on what her character sheet is. She wants to keep changing it constantly.
Oh
And I
my
actually talked to one of her other DMs that we kind of had the same